see you again. How are you doing?
Just have a nice Sunday. I'm racing my motorcycle today, and I break it, so not the nice, but I'm safe. So.
Oh my God! Did you have your tongue split?
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
Funniest thing to do in life, I guess. Especially to scare children. It's very useful.
Well, maybe you could talk a little bit about your work and your style, and our directors will, while you're talking, will show a couple of your artworks, so the people on the screen out there can see what are you doing and what is your style.
Well, my style is basically realistic, but I turned it into my way through the freehand technique. So I almost never do a stencil on a person because I began my career as an artist, as a drawer, illustrator, sculptor. So for me, it was more natural to draw directly on skin instead to print any stencil. So that's how I began to do the realistic, and that's how I keep doing it. Of course, I didn't start it with realistic, but I tried a little bit of everything. But then I ended up with what I like to do, with drawing on skin instead of doing still.
So that's like quite interesting when you set up an appointment with your customer, right? Because then it's probably when you're doing everything freehand, your customer is not knowing exactly what he's getting before you start tattooing, right?
Well, the beginning was a little bit difficult because it's really hard from a customer to have confidence and believe on an artist that he doesn't know. But after that, after a few years, I showed, the before and the after of my tattoos, freehand tattoos. They started to fade and they started to get tattoos from me with not looking. But they usually make a project with a big, like back pieces, full arms, or front pieces. I do a little project, and that's the start.
And what is driving you? What's the motivation to going in a direction like this? Because that's quite a risk for an artist, right? When you have when you have your customer and you show them the design before, that's like the usual way the most artists are doing it, and you going like this little risky way that you can draw on your customer, and maybe the customer say, no, I don't like it, but maybe it's not that often. But what would you do if that happened, and what is the drive you have to do something like that?
Well, it never happened because I don't know. It's a difficult way to work, but it just believed me. It never happened that I draw and he doesn't like it, because actually he sees draw with already all the black and gray and the light and shadows. With a pen, I can do more than a stencil. I can arrive almost at the volume that the tattoo has at the end. So he's okay with it, and he already sees all the composition. Well, stencil is a little bit a limit about light and shadows. With the freehand technique, I can add light and shadows before to the tattoo. So about this is okay, but not a lot of details. So for details, he has simply to believe me, and but everything went great. I just do little changes before with the project, so nothing scaring for the customer. I'm using a new technique, let's say. I began my career as a sculpture artist, so instead of doing the project with a sketch, I just do a sculpture before tattooing it. So this is very particular. I explain better myself. One of my customers wanted the Medusa on his back piece, like the woman with all the snakes. So everybody did hundreds of it, I guess. So Instead of making a sketch, I made a sculpture that I can show you, and then I applied on skin. So this is the Medusa sculpture.
Cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Good idea.
So very easy to sketch because it's small, as you can see, it's not that big, and then I made the project. So just using Procreate on iPad, you know, the program every tatuarist use. So I took a picture of the back of my customer, and I applied the photo of my sculpture. So the advantage was to use light as I wanted. So to do not be limited, but about what we find on Pinterest or Google, but just do my own lighting. So every element has the same light. So it looks like all the same, with the same volume.
Sure.
And then I freehanded the skin, but because I already made the sketch, so the sculpture, I used a projector, a beamer, to put the image on the skin.
That is incredible.
That's quite an effort, right?
Yeah,
my
but
goodness.
yeah. She goes
This
this
is
way.
kind of weird, but it's what painter used to do on canvas. When I used to paint very complicated things that I have to lose a lot of time to draw, I just take my beamer and put the image directly on canvas. This is the same thing at one customers. So they already see the full tattoo on their back when I take a picture.
And is your customer getting the sculpture in the end, or?
Yeah, I'm on the 4th session already, so
Nice.
we're going through it. Yeah, he's very happy. I'm very happy too, so this is something different. But tattooing is one of the last things I learned about art technique. So everything I knew before, I just used on tattoos, slowly. But yeah, you know, at the beginning it's always difficult, you know, because you have to learn how a machine works, how the skin works, and you know, doing this thing at the beginning is not really considering a good thing, but at the end, after, well, now it's 10 years, I thought to finally I can use my skills on skin.
Marta, what would you recommend young artists to do to find references? I mean, it's probably not the easiest way for everybody to just jump in right to sculpturing, or maybe it is. Or what would you recommend? Just like starting with books and look it up, or
Just learn to draw first, because I see a lot of people, a lot of tattoo artists, they just keep going on, not even opening a book of, I don't know, have a few of them, like a book of drawing. You know, this is the base. This is the base of even understanding what you're tattooing. I talk about realism, realistics, or even new school and stuff. A lot of people have no idea of how a human face is made, or why light is over here and over here, you know, just basics of drawing. So this is my first recommendation, just learn to draw basics. Then if you want to go through maybe statues or looking forward to understand the volumes and lights, well, a little bit of sculpture is not bad to learn. Also painting or whatever, it's fine for the artist. Everybody have a different approach. I mean, you have not to be a full technique artist to be a tattoo artist, of course, but you know, just a little bit of culture. This is my recommendation. A lot of people also, young artists, I see they start already doing what they want to do in future, and this is not right for me. I mean,
Very interesting.
to be
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
sorry, no. Yeah,
Very
no.
interesting what she say, because if you step back and if you look to the natives, what they did. This was not only tattooing. They were drawing a lot. They sculpting too. They carve by wood or they carve by stone. They carve with corals and everything. So everything comes together, and also part of this is tattooing. So I think tattooing, to be a tattoo artist, it's more than only tattooing. Yes, and you live it. I really like it.
I have a question, and who was your favorite?
Okay.
Who was your favorite tattoo artist? So who was the one that you decided to start tattooing? Probably.
It was Guy Hutchinson 10 years ago, I remember. I was really passionate about bioorganic tattoo and all his visionary way to interpret the images. And then Nick Baxter, also bioorganic. And before to get into realism, before even to buy my first tattoo machine, and in fact, I have a lot of bioorganic pieces on my body, inspired by. So,
I can see.
Yeah.
and then that's it.
Who would like to know if you have any guest spot plans for Germany? Maybe at Hieronymus studio. I don't know, they really love you. Everybody wants to come to you right now.
Well, I hope so after this situation goes over, because now booking a flight is very, very hard for customers and for tattoo artists. I have a lot of cancellation from customers for their flights, and well, train from Rome is a little bit, long, but very soon I hope so.
What is your favorite tattoo machine?
Solterra.
And why?
Even if I do black and gray, and Solterra is very, very for color, very powerful. It gives me a lot of speed, and I can use black in a very, very nice way with a lot of speed. So I really can't have any substitute. I can't change it for any other tattoo machine. I had a pen before, the Cheyenne pen, and then the Solenova, but was not powered, not stroke enough to go fast. So Solterra is perfect.
And I switch.
I'm wondering the wireless. I don't know. I really want to try to see if it works like Solenova or not. I'm really curious about it.
Really, Marta, you have to join it, because in your way, if you go free, you do a lot of freehand. I think this machine, in case if you do a lot of freehand, this is the one for you, because there's another feeling. You have no cable anymore.
Okay.
That's it. I
And
think
what
this is
about the
good combination.
stroke, and what about the wireless and the Solenova? What's the difference if you had Solenova?
The Solenova Unlimited is basically a Solenova with 3.5 millimeter stroke, but with the switch for the steady and responsive mode, which you have already with the Solterra. But the Solterra is 4 millimeter stroke, and it's an angled machine, because we figured out that the most people who would like to have this 4 millimeter stroke came from the Thunder and are used to an angled machine. So that was the decision we made, to have the Solterra as an angled machine, but with this new technology of the switch between the responsive and the steady mode.
That's amazing. That's amazing also, because it's in one machine there are a lot of solutions, even especially for me.
Hopefully soon you come to Germany, to Berlin, so we can see you here.
I hope so. Thank you guys for everything, for listening.
Thank you, Marta.
Have a great
Thank
day.
you. Have a great day.